Most people walk through life thinking their dreams are dead. They look back at moments when they were younger, more energetic, more optimistic, and they recall the dreams they once held. They remember wanting to build a business, become an artist, travel the world, write a book, change lives. But somewhere along the way, something happened. Life, as they say, happened. Bills came, responsibilities grew, people criticized, failure knocked, and they buried those dreams. They didn't kill them, they buried them. Under the heavy weight of doubt, under the constant noise of limitation, under the belief systems that were never theirs to begin with. You see, from the time we were children, we were conditioned to think a certain way, to act a certain way, to desire only what was realistic. And slowly but surely, our magnificent dreams were pushed down, labeled as fantasy, categorized as childish, and locked away in the attic of the subconscious mind. Now here's the thing, those dreams didn't disappear. They're still alive, they're still burning, they're still waiting. The problem is never the dream, it's always the belief surrounding the dream. We were taught to believe that if something didn't happen quickly, it wasn't meant to be. We were taught that if we failed once or twice, we weren't good enough. We were told, often by people we loved and respected, that success was for other people. So we started doubting, we stopped trying. And worse, we started accepting a smaller life. But understand this, nothing was ever wrong with the dream. The only thing that went wrong was the belief structure that told you it was impossible. Every dream planted in your heart is a seed, and seeds are not meant to be buried in fear. They're meant to be planted in faith. But faith cannot live in a mind ruled by doubt. That's why the first step in redeeming any broken dream is not action, it's awareness. You must become aware of what you believe. You must examine the hidden programs that have been running your life. Most people think they're making conscious choices, but in reality, their choices are being made by deeply embedded subconscious beliefs. Beliefs about what they deserve, beliefs about what's safe, beliefs about failure, beliefs about money, time, age, worth. And these beliefs become the lens through which they see the world. So even when an opportunity shows up, they don't recognize it. Even when inspiration hits, they talk themselves out of it. And even when the dream tries to rise again, they shut it down before it has a chance to breathe. But here's the truth, you can reprogram your mind. You can uproot the limiting beliefs and replace them with empowering ones. You can begin to tell yourself a new story. You can declare that your past has no power over your future, and you must. Because the dream you buried is still calling to you, and the only thing standing in the way is the belief that it's too late, or too far, or too hard. That belief is a lie. It's an illusion, and like all illusions, it can be shattered the moment you shine the light of truth on it. Do you know what happens when you start believing in the dream again? You begin to vibrate at a different frequency. You begin to attract ideas, people, resources. Life starts to organize itself around your new belief. That's not magic, that's a universal law. Everything in this universe is energy. Your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, they all carry a frequency. And the frequency you operate on determines what you attract. So if you're stuck in the belief that your dreams are dead, you will continue to attract evidence that supports that belief. But the moment you shift, the moment you begin to believe that it's possible, the universe responds in kind. It begins to open doors. It begins to reveal paths. Not because the opportunities weren't there before, but because you were blind to them. Your perception was clouded by fear, and fear always distorts vision. Think about the times in your life when you felt unstoppable, when you were lit up by a vision, when you believed something so deeply nothing could shake you. In those moments, you were tapped into your power. You were connected to Source. You weren't waiting for permission. You were moving with purpose. That's who you really are. Not this person bound by old stories and tired excuses. No, the real you is bold, fearless, and destined. And that version of you is the one who can redeem every dream you've ever abandoned. But let's get practical. If your dream feels broken right now, don't focus on the whole staircase. Just find the first step. Start small, but start strong. Write the first sentence. Make the first phone call. Sketch the first plan. The action itself is not as important as the energy behind it. If you take one step with conviction, the next will reveal itself. But if you wait for perfect conditions, you'll wait forever. The dream doesn't need perfection, it needs movement, and that movement will generate momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence creates clarity. And clarity keeps the dream alive. Most people never reach their dreams not because they didn't have enough talent or time or support. They simply didn't believe enough to keep going. They allowed temporary defeat to become permanent surrender. But you don't have to live like that. You can wake up. You can decide right now to dig up what you buried, dust it off, speak life into it, align your thoughts with it, visualize it, feel it, and move toward it with boldness, knowing that the only thing that ever stood between you and your dream was the belief that it couldn't happen, and now that belief no longer lives here. Now you are free, free to reclaim, free to rise, free to become. The power to redeem your broken dreams is not somewhere out there, waiting for the stars to align or for the world to give you permission. The power is already in you. It has always been in you. But most people don't realize this because they have been trained to look outside of themselves for answers. They've been conditioned to believe that someone else is holding the keys to their future. They wait for approval, for timing, for luck, for a break. But the truth is, nothing outside of you can save you, and nothing outside of you can stop you. Because you are the cause, you are not the effect. You are not here to react to life. You are here to create it. The moment you understand that your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, these are the tools you use to shape your reality, you stop looking for rescue and you start reclaiming authority. Everything you experience in life flows from your internal state. Thought is the root of all form. Every building, every business, every invention, every movement began as a thought, and yet we've been told that thoughts are just passive things, that they have no real power. But that is a lie. A thought is not just a flicker of electrical activity in your brain. A thought is energy, and energy moves into form when it is held with enough clarity and emotion. The subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. That's why you can watch a movie and cry at something that never happened. That's why you can lie in bed thinking of a worst case scenario and feel your heart rate rise. Your body and your reality respond to the thoughts you hold most consistently. So if your dreams have been broken, it's not because the universe said no. It's because you've been vibrating at a frequency that said not me, and not now, and not possible. And you might say, but I tried, I worked hard, I stayed up late, I put in the time, yes, and that matters. But work without alignment is like rowing a boat with one oar. You go in circles. You can put in effort for years, but if you don't believe it's going to work, if you don't feel worthy of the outcome, if you're secretly expecting failure, then you will always sabotage the result, or you'll attract people and situations that reinforce the failure you expect. That's not punishment, that's physics. You cannot outwork a mindset that's rooted in defeat, but you can rewire it. You can start now to install a new vibration, a new frequency, a new signal that says, I am worthy, I am capable, I am aligned. What you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you believe, you create. It's not just motivational fluff, it's law. And the law doesn't care whether you're thinking positive or negative. It just responds. That's why some people stay stuck in the same patterns year after year. They're not cursed, they're not unlucky, they're simply vibrating at a level that attracts more of what they don't want, and because they don't understand the law, they keep blaming the world instead of shifting the signal. But if you can accept the truth that your thoughts and beliefs are shaping your world, you gain power, immense power, because now you know that your future is not determined by your past. It's determined by your present vibration. The redemption of your dream begins with a shift in identity. You cannot redeem a dream if you see yourself as broken, unworthy, or forgotten. You must begin to see yourself as powerful, intentional, connected to the infinite. This is not about arrogance. This is about alignment. You are not here by accident. The same intelligence that hung the stars, that orchestrates the seasons, that keeps the planets in motion, that power flows through you. You are not separate from it. You are a unique expression of it, and the dreams in your heart were placed there by that same universal force. They are not random, they are instructions. They are maps leading you back to yourself. But you cannot follow the map if you're tuned to the wrong station. If you are thinking thoughts of fear, lack, unworthiness, then you're operating at a frequency that jams the signal. But when you start to think thoughts of faith, abundance, possibility, when you begin to feel the dream as if it's already done, now you've shifted the dial, now you've aligned with the source. Some people hear this and they say, well, that sounds good, but how do I do it? You start where you are. You start by becoming aware of what you're thinking. You start by watching your inner dialogue. Every time you think something disempowering, catch it, interrupt it, replace it. It may feel fake at first. It may feel like you're lying to yourself, but you're not. You're uncovering a deeper truth. You're not affirming something that isn't real. You're affirming something that's more real than the lie you've been living. And with repetition, belief begins to shift. And as your belief shifts, your vibration shifts. And when your vibration shifts, your reality has no choice but to follow. This is not about blind positivity. This is about alignment. There is a difference. Positivity tries to ignore the problem. Alignment transcends it. Positivity says, everything is fine. Alignment says, I create what I desire, no matter what appears now. That's a powerful place to stand. Because from that place, you can look at your past without shame, your present without fear, and your future without limits. You stop waiting for things to change so you can feel better. You feel better now, and then things change. That's the secret. That's the shift. Most people have it backward. They think, when I have the result, I'll believe. But the law says when you believe, you'll have the result. You must act as if it is already done. You must think from the outcome, not toward it. This requires discipline. It requires practice. You have to train your mind like an athlete trains the body. You can't do it once and expect permanent change. You have to do it daily. You have to become the person who lives in harmony with the dream. That means asking yourself, what would the version of me who already has the dream think, feel, say, do? And then you begin to think, feel, say, and do those things now. That's how you shift the frequency. That's how you collapse time. That's how you redeem what you once thought was lost. And no matter how long it's been, no matter how far you feel you've fallen, the power has never left you. It was just waiting for you to wake up, to remember who you are, to claim your role, not as a victim of circumstance, but as the creator of destiny. You were never meant to live a life of quiet resignation. You were never meant to give up on what set your soul on fire. That fire may have gone dim, but it's still there, and the match to reignite it is in your hands, not in someone else's approval, not in the perfect plan, not in the right timing. It's in your ability to choose, right now, to rise in vibration, to align in thought, to move with belief, because when your mind is tuned to the frequency of the dream, life has no choice but to meet you at that level. Vision is the blueprint. It is the mental architecture of the life you want to build. Without vision, you are like a ship without a compass, adrift, reactive, influenced by the tide and the wind, but never truly choosing direction. Vision is not a wish. It's not a vague hope or a soft desire. Vision is precise. It's focused. It's a picture of a future reality so alive, so clear, so emotionally charged, that it begins to pull you forward with gravitational force. Most people never fully unlock the power of vision because they are too caught up in their current circumstances. They think vision is about looking around, but real vision is about looking within. The circumstances are temporary. The vision is eternal. When you live from the inside out, when you allow your vision to become the lens through which you interpret your present, you activate creative faculties that were lying dormant. You awaken the part of you that doesn't care what the bank account says, or what your age is, or what mistakes you've made. The vision speaks only of what's possible. It speaks of potential, of destiny, of expansion. But vision alone is not enough. Vision is the plan, but faith is the bridge. Without faith, the vision remains a beautiful painting in the mind's gallery, never brought into form. Faith is what moves you across the gap between what is and what will be. Faith is not just belief in the possible. It's belief in the invisible. It's trust in the unseen. It's knowing, beyond logic, that what you've seen in your imagination is already yours in another dimension. And your job is not to wonder how, but to remain in the vibration of that knowing long enough for the path to unfold. The world teaches us to doubt. It trains us to analyze, to calculate, to wait for confirmation. But faith doesn't wait. Faith acts, faith moves, faith speaks as if the dream is already realized. That's why some people are able to do things others can't explain. They're not living by sight, they're living by vision. They're not making decisions based on what is. They're making decisions based on what will be. And when you live like that, you enter a different flow, doors open, people appear, ideas drop in, not by accident, but by alignment. Vision will show you the outcome. Faith will carry you through the process. Because make no mistake, there will be resistance. There will be times when it looks like nothing is working. There will be days when the evidence doesn't match the vision. That's where most people give up. They interpret delay as denial. They think struggle is a sign to quit. But that's only because they were never taught how faith works. Faith doesn't eliminate the process. It energizes it. Faith is not about escaping hardship. It's about transcending it. When your vision is strong and your faith is alive, even in the face of challenge, you will keep moving. Not because you're forcing, but because you're pulled. That's the difference between hustle and flow. Hustle comes from fear. Flow comes from vision and faith. And when those two are working in harmony, you tap into something unstoppable. But let's bring it closer. What is your vision? Not just what you think you can do, but what you must do. What is that image in your heart that won't go away? That dream that revisits you in quiet moments, that whispers to you when the noise fades, that stirs you in the middle of the night. That's not fantasy. That's the real you trying to get your attention. You didn't come here to survive. You didn't come here to check boxes and follow rules and live a life that fits inside someone else's model. You came here to create, to build, to stretch the limits of possibility. That dream that feels impossible, that's the one, that's the assignment, but you can't wait for the world to confirm it. You have to see it before anyone else does. You have to feel it so deeply that it becomes more real than your current reality. And then you have to speak it, walk it, live it, as if it's already done. When you do that, something begins to happen. Your subconscious mind begins to rewire itself. Your self-image begins to shift. You stop identifying with failure, with fear, with the person you used to be. You start seeing yourself as the version of you who already has the dream. You carry yourself differently, you think differently, you make different choices, and those choices begin to change your outcomes. You're not trying to make it happen. You're becoming the person to whom it naturally happens. That's alignment, and the world begins to reflect it. It's not always immediate. Sometimes it takes time, but time doesn't shake you when you have faith. Time doesn't discourage you when the vision is burned into your soul. You understand that there is a season for everything. You don't plant the seed and dig it up the next day because it hasn't sprouted. You keep watering, you keep nurturing, you keep believing, and you do it not because of what you see, but because of what you know. Every person who's ever achieved anything extraordinary has had to walk this path. They saw the future before it arrived. They believed in the result before there was any proof. They were mocked, doubted, criticized, but they held the vision. They kept the faith, and the world eventually caught up. The same is true for you. Your dream may look broken now. It may seem far away. But if the vision is alive, if the faith is strong, there is no force that can stop its manifestation. You don't have to know how. You don't have to have every step mapped. You just have to begin. You just have to trust. You just have to walk, one step at a time, with the conviction of someone who already knows where they're going. Because they've seen it, they've felt it, they've believed it. And when that's true, when your vision and faith align, there is nothing left to do but move forward,